My name is Julie Salisbury. I am the founder of Influence Publishing, and welcome to this series which interviews authors of influence. Today we are interviewing Karen Tyrell. Karen is a dementia consultant and educator and the author of the new book, Cracking the Dementia Code. She's also the coordinator and facilitator of the Tri-Cities Senior Caregiver Support Program. Karen, tell us how you got passionate about dementia.
So dementia, I believe it all started when I was in college doing my college placement. And at that time, and that was back in 1995, and I was noticing what was happening in the care facilities wasn't what I was learning about. Things like proper approaches, environmental supports available for people that have dementia, and it bothered me. And so ever since then, I just had that desire to want to make a difference for these individuals who sadly don't seem to have that voice to speak up anymore.
How did you get more involved in dementia?
Well, over the years after college, I ended up volunteering with the local Alzheimer's Society of my community and volunteered on the board for about 6 years, 4 of those years as president, and then evolved into the role as executive director for 2.5 years before moving out west. And I just loved it. I loved supporting the families in the community, and also for about 14 years now, I've been working in total in a long-term care home in the recreation department, and I had the great opportunity to be working with people with dementia of all stages and came up with lots of creative ideas on how to manage their anxieties, their behaviors. And so this is why I wanted to be able to write and also educate these individuals.
That's a very fresh approach to dementia. Is that why you decided to write your book, Cracking the Dementia Code?
Cracking the Dementia Code is my workshop that I created. And I created it for families as well as the frontline staff on creative approaches that don't involve drugs, on how to keep the peace, keep everyone calm, and reduce the stress. And so when I was doing this workshop, I was obtaining lots of positive feedback. And so therefore we decided to put the workshop into a book format. And that way we would be able to reach a wider audience, a larger reach for people, because I won't be able to travel everywhere to provide this workshop. So the book, we're hoping, will be able to get the message out.
Cracking the Dementia Code, that's an interesting title. Tell us more about that.
Well, Cracking the Dementia Code, it's because a lot of people don't realize that there is meaning behind the behaviors that are happening. So we need to become detectives as caregivers to figure out why the behavior is happening in the first place.
Hence the picture on the book with the magnifying glass. So tell us about some of the tools of the detective.
Okay, so in the book I teach families, okay, we need to put on our detective hat to figure out why the behaviors are happening. We can't just jump into how do we stop them from doing this? How do we, change that behavior? We have to first sit back and become that detective to dig deep as to why the behaviors are happening in the first place. Once we gather when we figure out the why, then we can go on to creative solutions. But in the book, I teach about ways to gather the whys through gathering the facts.
Facts? What do you mean by the facts?
Okay, so facts is actually spelled in my book Phacts. And so the PH stands for physical. We want to figure out what physically could be going on with this individual. Could it be they have a headache, they're constipated, or they're in pain somewhere, and that's the reason for the behavior? We got to keep gathering the facts. Maybe we need to ask them. Often people overlook that one and don't even bother asking. C, consider cognitive concerns. Consider that there's something upstairs happening, whether they're anxious or worried or nervous. Figure out what could be happening up here. Nothing physical, but figure out, could they be back in time and worried about something that happened when they were younger? T stands for triggers, so look at what could be triggering the behavior. Could it be a time of day? Could it even be an individual, or even particular words or phrases that are bothering them? And S stands for use your magnifying glass, because you want to scan your environment, because environment plays a huge role in the behaviors. So is it too noisy, too loud, too overstimulating for them? So gather the facts, use those tools, and when you can figure out your why from those facts, then we can get creative.
You give some examples and case studies in the book. Can you give us a few examples now?
Sure. So in the book, I make reference to Clarence, the fellow that really wanted to go home, and when we figured out the why, it was because he needed to get home to milk the cows. So he's back in a different reality than ours. And so how can we get creative with him? Well, by telling Clarence, actually those cows have already been milked today. As opposed to, what are you talking about, Clarence? You don't have a farm anymore, it's been sold. That only creates more anxieties and upset, because he doesn't believe our reality today. So we have to go into their reality. And I talk in the book about using therapeutic reasoning, and it's a way to help reduce the anxieties of an individual that has dementia, who's no longer able to come to our reality.
Karen, you are celebrating the launch of your book on September the 20th. Please tell us how the community can be involved in that.
So we're putting on a great event. It's very exciting. This is going to be held in a big ballroom in the Burnaby area. We needed a larger space, and we have some guest speakers. We're going to be having Adam Hirschfield, the president of XOXO Entertainment, and he was also highly involved with the Desperate Housewives of Vancouver. And so he's going to be talking. He has an experience within his family with dementia, as well as Brock Tully, who is a motivational speaker, and he'll be sharing a little bit from his experiences that evening. And the evening actually is also going to be a benefit to the Alzheimer's Society of BC. And so I have proceeds from the book going to the Alzheimer's Society, and during the evening we're hoping to have a 50-50 draw to be able to bring more funds to help the local society.
And I understand there's going to be some dancing.
Yes, I love dancing. So we're so excited to have the Arthur Murray Dance Studio from Coquitlam. They're going to supply some dance instructors, and they're going to do a little mini lesson once the ceremony is done. So at 9:30, we're going to turn the lights down and turn the music up and have a great time. Because exercise is good for the brain, you know, and dancing is a good way to also exercise the brain with learning new steps. So
I'm really looking forward to that event, and I know that you have many people in the Tri-Cities community that would love to also come to the event. Mm-hmm. I understand you're looking for some local sponsors so that you can actually make the event bigger and open this up to more people in the community. So just a personal pledge to our viewers: if you know anybody, any business or anyone that would really like to support Karen so that more people in the community can come along to this event and share their dementia stories and network with other people experiencing dementia challenges, then please do get in contact with Karen. We would really appreciate it if we could find some local sponsors for this event. I hope we're able to do that, Karen, because I know right now you have only a capacity of 150, and you'd like to make the capacity a lot more than that so that more people in the community can come along.
Those hors d'oeuvres really do cost a lot.
Absolutely. You do have a website called dementiasolutions.ca, and you give lots of resources and tips and stories on that website, but you also offer a local program in the Tri-Cities. Can you tell us about that?
Okay, well, this is actually a funded program through the United Way of the Lower Mainland, and it's also supported by the Dogwood Pavilion in Coquitlam. And so what it is, it's the support that we're able to give to senior caregivers, so anybody 50 plus. We offer one-on-one support, and that's through myself, over the phone, or we can meet at one of the local senior centers. We also have support groups. So we get together as a group, as caregivers, and people get to share their stories and learn from one another. We have the information sessions, so I put on these one-off afternoons or mornings of education for the caregivers throughout the year. But we also have what's known as the 5-week caregiver series, and this is really neat and really exciting. Each of the 5 weeks has a different component to it that really helps caregivers get a better handle on understanding what it is to be in the role as caregiver. And we can support anybody, not just with dementia. We do support anybody in the Tri-Cities who is a caregiver. So it could be arthritis, it could be Parkinson's disease, it could be cancer.
And this is a real support for the Tri-Cities community. It's a free series, a program that you do, and it's supported through the United Way.
Yes, the United Way of the Lower Mainland, which has been a great support. They actually have caregiver support all throughout the Lower Mainland, and I'm the one for the Tri-Cities.
That's wonderful. So if you are in the Tri-Cities and you are a caregiver, senior caregiver, and you're looking for some extra support, then do please get in contact with Karen, dementiasolutions.ca. And again, her book launch is September the 20th in Burnaby. And all the information about that is also available at her website, dementiasolutions.ca. Thank you, Karen. What you're offering the community for help in dementia is so important, and it's so wonderful to see somebody that's so passionate about the subject.
I love what I do. It really is so satisfying to be able to help these families go through this journey. And I just want to mention, perhaps to give my phone number, because some people may not be on internet, and so there are many seniors who do call me, and if I can provide that to your listeners, it's 778-789-1496, and I'd be happy to help them and guide them on their journey.
That's great. So I will just repeat that telephone number for the viewers. If you need to get hold of Karen, the telephone number is 778-789-1496. And the website, dementiasolutions.ca. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you so much, Julie.